Welcome to Studio 58A Live here at the Jamaica Information Service, our discussion program coming to you live on Facebook. I'm your host, Vaughn Davis. Thank you to everyone joining us online, wherever you are around the world. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your eyeballs. And like how we have your attention, do us a favor, man. Share this video with a friend or two or 10,000 so we can have a very lively discussion. And don't forget to put questions and comments to our guests. All right. Now, people are probably tired of hearing me say it, but shows like today are the reason I do this show in the first place, to tell people about opportunities to activate their potential, step into their purpose, and start living their best lives. Today, we're talking about a business incubator for innovation and technology businesses, an opportunity for people who have the next best tech idea, the next Uber, the next Airbnb, the next TikTok, to get the technical support, training, and everything else that they'll need to reap success. It's called the Kanoo Innovation Hub, and we're going to get into all the details from our guests, co-founder of the Kanoo Innovation Hub, Ms. Davinia Bain, and Khadija Ghazi, head of partnerships and business development at a key partner in the hub, Draper University in California. Welcome to the both of you. Thank you for being here with me. Are you hearing me? Are you well?
Yes. Hi, Yvonne. Great to be here with you.
All right, great. I'm going to start with you, Davinia. Give me an idea of what the Innovation Hub is all about. Hubs are, all the rage nowadays. Everybody has a hub or so on. So I want you to give me an idea of what your hub is all about, and make me understand why I should check out your hub instead of, the one over there or somewhere else.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. So the Canoe Innovation Hub, we're definitely not the first, so I won't put that out there. I'm really excited to see some of the startup innovation culture that's been going on in the Caribbean thus far. It's with, throughout a couple of the islands, but the difference between some of the things that would have happened prior to now and what we're doing with Canoe Innovation Hub is that we're focusing on making sure we get to the finish line, right? And not that others didn't do that, but I think when you connect with the right access to network, it changes the game for you and whatever it is that you are looking to do. So we're about innovation. And you mentioned earlier tech, like, Uber apps and Airbnb app and all these types of things. Tech is great, is one form of innovation, but there are other forms of innovation, new ways of doing things, new processes, new ways of thinking, new ways of packaging, any of those types of things we find innovative if it can, one, help you to scale a lot faster than you could have if you didn't do it, help you to access new markets, those types of things. That's what we're bringing to the table. So we've created a bridge, we like to call it, straight to Silicon Valley with Khadija and her team at Draper University, and their whole network of VCs, which will allow her to talk to you directly about. But alongside that is the Caribbean ecosystem, the Caribbean community that needs to really be vibrant across the countries. So I want to see, Bahamian entrepreneurs or innovators connecting with Jamaican innovators, Trinidadian innovators. If you misses a Trinidadian and don't say Tobagan, to the other one, you get in trouble. So hopefully none of my friends from Trinidad and Tobago are listening right at this moment. But yeah, so that's what I'm interested in. How do we connect the Caribbean so that not only do you have a bridge to Silicon Valley, you have a bridge to all of the countries. So you actually scale in the region first, whether scaling for vendors or scaling for customers. Either way, you find your first access in the region, and then we take you wherever else you need to go. So yeah, that's what we're doing differently, and we're excited about it. We have applicants right now from, all over the Bahamas, Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Grenada, Antigua, Mexico, and if I'm missing a few of them, please forgive me, because like everybody's already come to the table and they're excited about whatever it is that they're doing that's innovative, and they're starting to get their acceptances straight throughout the region.
Yeah,
So
so
I'm
if
holding on to my seat right now.
if Davinia didn't mention your name, I want you to jump on my live and say something bad. You know, jump on the live from wherever you are. I want you to follow up the live so we can get all this information. This is great. Like I said, people always say, not guan for the youths. But pardon me, guys, I'm talking to the people in my pilot. So just, this doesn't concern you at this moment. So let me just talk to you. The love say, not guan for the youths. Nothing is there for them to do. Here's an opportunity if you have an idea. If you have some tech, you know, some of you guys have an idea for an app or something that you've been nursing in your back pocket for quite some time now. This is an opportunity to partner with someone who can help you to get the information you need to take it from idea to reality. And so we need you guys to full up the live, full it up, make we get all the questions, all the comments, everything you want to know so that you can get the information you need and hopefully take advantage of this opportunity. Now, next question I want to ask you, Davinia, is at what stage, I mentioned that persons might have their idea in their back pocket, but what about, for me, I guess, where do I have to be in this development stage? Because I'm thinking, sure, I might have an idea in my back pocket, but I don't know anything about coding. I don't know anything about, you know, writing, you know, lines and operating these fancy tech stuff. I mean, should I just make this one pass me by, or is this something I should really still pay attention to because it'll benefit me?
Yeah, I'm smiling because you know, when Khadija and I first started powwowing about how we're going to do this, you know, I was just like you in my position, and I'm going to allow her to take this. But before I pass it to her, I was like, yeah, Khadija, we need to get coders. I need an army of coders like yesterday before we could do this, because we need all of these Caribbean innovators to be able to get access to it and blah, 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 which is still necessary. It's a long-term plan, and we're going to develop the capacity for that. But unfortunately for me, I didn't really know that there was a way to code without code. Like, it sounds crazy.
Okay.
So she brought me on to the concept. So I'm going to allow Khadija to explain how is it that we can produce these MVPs, the minimal viable product of these new innovations that we're going to create without actually having to start knowing how to code.
Okay, Khadija, over to you. Let's know how.
Absolutely.
This kind of thing.
It has never been easier to put your own website out there. You know, companies like Shopify, Wix have taken away all the coding aspect of things, right? For more than basic, you can put up your idea out there. You know, you have a lot of templates on how to build your pitch deck. You can even look at pitch decks of companies like Uber and Airbnb on how and when they started, how they were pitching their idea. Then you move on to designing basic branding, like a post, an Instagram post, a Facebook post, putting a presentation together. Canva, you know, Canva is the talk of the town. They have done tremendously well. You don't have a designer, you have Canva, you will be able to get away with it. Even with the free account, you can do a lot. Mm-hmm. The no-code movement is at rise. In fact, right now we have somebody in the building who is working on no-code for gamers. So, you know, you can build games using no-code. So with no-code, access to design platforms like Canva, for you to get your messaging out, for you to get your basic MVP out, depending on what product or service that you're working with, is much, much easier than ever before. You see a lot of products and services where all they do is put their launch website. So they just put a launch page, hey, this is what it's coming. They start marketing, they start getting to their users to see even if there's a demand for it. You know, and then they see how, and it's a very typical cycle that a lot of people follow, where they put a launch page out there, they circulate the idea through social media and other marketing, get people to sign up, get the excitement out there. And based on that sign up, then they go and start building things. I've seen, you know, and all of this really, if you put some effort, could be done overnight. That's all the time that it takes. It's once you get to your users, then, you know, you start pivoting and figuring out what works and what not works. And by that time, you have to be selling yourself. You have to be selling your product. You don't necessarily need to hire. There's so many people who are graduating with computer science or, you know, other technical degrees. You approach them and be like, hey, you know, I market tested it. There's a lot of interest out there. You sell your idea to the other person to bring them as CTO, and VCs are more inclined to invest in founders, co-founders instead of like solo founders. Because if you can't sell your idea to one more other person who can be as invested as you, for you to sell it to a lot of other people might be a challenge. So that's something that I repeat over and over again is do not be discouraged by, I don't know how to code, I'm not technical, I don't know the terminologies. So for example, if I'm talking to you about valuation, the term itself might be like, oh, I don't know what she's talking about, but compare the two situations. You're listening the word valuation by other people who are founders, by investors, you're listening to in context versus you're reading you're reading it in a book or you're reading it on Wikipedia page. The impact that has building that verbiage, building that vocabulary is very different experience. So until you don't dip yourself, immerse yourself, your learning experience is going to be very different. So that's why, especially this 2-week program, it's really an immersion program. You come in, you build the vocabulary, you absorb the ideas, you build a network, you know how the game is played.
All right. Well, I guess the question.
Vaughn. Sorry, Vaughn,
Sure.
I don't want to slow you down, but
Sure, go ahead.
The question that you asked about, tech, whether pre or post persons being in this program, I want to add one more thing. Khadija and I met with a gentleman while she was here in New Providence a few weeks ago. And without disclosing too much, this person, I think, had already dropped, if I remember clearly, about 50K plus into customizing a white label. Or it felt like that's what was happening. I could be mistaken, but the point was, it was about 50K into the tech before the idea of the tech was validated. And in listening to the concept, we were stretched to find what was unique about it. And there were some very easily accessible alternatives and competitors that made it a far stretch. I would not have advised him to invest 50K in the idea, right? So I think we want to make sure we begin to teach people to take the right steps. So often we're so afraid for someone to steal our idea that we're sitting home in our little cocoon, dreaming up stuff and pumping money, our hard-earned savings into things before we really air it out and find out whether the market cares about it. Because if the market doesn't care about it, it could be as great as you think it is, and you still make $0 off of it.
All right, fantastic. Just to recap, just to remind persons, we're here talking about the Kanoo Innovation Hub with co-founder Davinia Bain. And I can't really read all of Khadija's title. It's too, it's so, let's just establish that she's really important, really smart, really brilliant, all that stuff. And she has lots of information to share. All right. And we're talking about the Kanoo Innovation Hub, and we're talking about ways in which Caribbean entrepreneurs, persons, they're doing it all across the region, but we're here focusing on Jamaica because, we're in Jamaica, you know what I'm saying? But if you have an idea, if you have some tech idea and you're thinking this would make a good app, this would make a good program that could help persons and do, make an impact in people's lives, but you're wondering if you have the tech, if you have the skills, if you have the know-how, this is a program that's going to take you from square one and help you take that idea from thought to finished product. What's the acronym that you said a while ago, Davinia? Minimum base product, something like that. Minimum viable product. So that they're going to help you to do that. So I want to delve deeper into that, Davinia. Talk to me about, well, I guess the idea, first of all, what is there age range for persons that you're trying to attract, or what kind of ages persons might feel? Because I might be, for example, 46 or 56 and think, nah, this doesn't apply to me because this is tech stuff, this is young people stuff, this might not apply to me. Or I might just be 10 and I have an idea and I think I'm smart enough to pull this off, but I hear that only adults are welcome or something like that. So give me an idea who's welcome.
Excuse me. So definitely 18 plus. Honestly, I had not an age bias in terms of what I wanted to see. I had an age bias in terms of what I expected to see. But the applications, I'm extremely surprised. I don't know about you, Khadija, but the age range is really more so between like 30 and 45 is where we have
Mm.
probably 50% of all the applicants. We have some under 30, but not as much. And we definitely have some in the 50s and 60s. So I was pretty surprised that you have a really like sort of middle-aged group that have applied to date. So it's going to be interesting. This will be the first time that I'm participating in a classroom setting that's across the Caribbean, and it's also across age brackets. So I hope Khadija, those are ready for it, because it's going to be fire. It's going to be pretty exciting to have
Sounds
all of
awesome.
that Caribbean energy in one space
Yeah.
at one time. So
That's really fantastic. The idea that you're making it such a multinational experience, in that, if you understand what I mean, there are so many persons from different backgrounds, and I with so many different ideas being put together in one place. It should be a really creative and wonderful
I think
space.
so.
Which,
I think so.
Which does beg me the question. Now begs the question of what will the training or the seminar look like? What's the format it's gonna take, and how long, that kind of thing. Give me a breakdown of how that's gonna work.
Could I just add one thing before we move to the other question? When you say people coming to the program with more experience, that's actually a very positive thing. Imagine somebody who has worked at a hospital or who has worked in manufacturing for years, and now they want to come start something off. The wealth of knowledge that they want to bring in is going to be so helpful. These are the people who will be great advisors. These are the people who will be able to tell what the market truly needs. And when that information, that knowledge, that experience means how to scale things, how to bring in more technology, it's wonderful. It's absolutely, it's not just like a young kids working in a garage situation. It's people who have a lot of experience. They are able to take things on next level at a completely different scale altogether.
All right, fantastic. Now I want you guys to break down for me. I've heard what you're saying. I'm interested. I think I want to participate. I have an idea, and I think I would be a good addition to this overall program. What's next? What I mean? What is the training gonna entail, so that I can have a better appreciation of what I'm getting myself into?
Khadija, you could take that one as well, because obviously you would have been in the classes before. I only know the very basics. We're looking at 11 to 1 every day virtually for 2 weeks, every weekday for 2 weeks. And then there's some auxiliary things in the evenings, and a pitch practice that's all outside of the main class with Draper. But I would like for Khadija to talk about the way the classes are ran, who's going to be running them, and how that all works.
Sure, Khadija, your turn. Over to you.
So all our programming is delivered not by academics, not people who will come tell you the definition of entrepreneurship. Academics is a large part of our society, very important. But in this particular situation, we only bring entrepreneurs, people who have built, people who have pivoted, people who have failed, people who have raised funding. So it's really coming from the direct source. So that's one. These are the people who are delivering the content. And then everybody's surrounded by you, coming from different countries. They're talking about their ideas, they're pitching their ideas. We have Discord groups where discussions take place. So it's not a recorded session. All of these are live interactive sessions that are taking place. And then we group them up to work on different things. So it's not just like somebody is teaching you, okay, this is how you build your pitch deck. This is how, no. You are looking at other people who are taking basic ideas and pitching them to you. And when you look at that, you almost have this vision building moment where you're like, okay, this person sounds like me. I can do what they're doing. I can definitely push on the idea that I'm working on, or I need to pivot because of these reasons. And when it's a mixed bag of entrepreneurs, everybody's having different struggles, everybody's at a different stage. So the learning from each other is phenomenal. So you're in this pressure cooker with entrepreneurs, investors, advisors, mentors. So not only are you learning for your own idea, you're also learning on what all these other people are working on.
Right. And so how does that take shape? Is that a situation where I'm in a virtual session from, let's say, 9 in the morning to 5 in the evening? Or, what exactly does my day look like once I've become a part of this hub?
So we have done a lot of testing around virtual programming, and anything beyond 2 hours does not work. Does not work well. You cannot hold on to the attention of the people. 2 weeks, we find works great in this particular situation. And there's a lot of osmosis takes place, right? The knowledge is moving from one person to the other within a group. But the thing that I appreciate the most is it's not a chop after 2 weeks. It's not like, okay, 2 weeks over, done, bye-bye, we don't know you. You become part of one of the largest entrepreneurial ecosystems in the world. You learn something, you were not able to apply, you come back in 6 months, you come back in 2 years for advisory, for mentorship, for funding. You'll continue to be part of this ecosystem. And, us partnering with Kanoo Innovation Hub, that we are very careful about picking who our local partners are, and them being able to provide support on ground, being the go-to people on ground, while we are this bridge to Silicon Valley. So the relationship is not going to end at 2 weeks. 2 weeks is just a start of the long-term relationship that we'll be building together.
All right, fantastic. So when is the next round or session, or 2-week session, 2-week period that persons would be applying to be a part of?
Yeah, very good question. So before we get to the next one, so for this one, the deadline is November 15th. The application really doesn't take long at all. It's really, demographics plus either a pitch deck or a video, which I prefer. A video basically is you pitching to us yourself as a founder. I would prefer you focus more on you and your passion and your drive and what makes you a great founder, more so than your idea for what it is that you would like to develop. But some people have mixed both things, that's fine. And then after that, we invite you for an interview. And then after the interview, you're accepted or not accepted. But then you have the opportunity, like Khadija says, to stay connected for when there are other opportunities now. So this first one happens, the actual cohort starts November 28th. The next one is, so we have 3 levels in this progressive programming. You have this initial cohort that's for 2 weeks. In February, we'll have level 2, which will be a pre-accelerator for 4 weeks. And 30 persons, the top 30 persons out of the program will matriculate to that. And then the top 10 people out of that program will matriculate to an immersion program in Silicon Valley. When that's done, and that starts in May of 2023, when that's done, we will start the second cycle of the fellowship. So, if you don't get into this first one, it's about 9 months-ish, give or take. I can't count the exact months. I will for you next time. But that's how long it will take before we do the second one.
Okay. All right. So I guess the question, you just mentioned an immersion program in Silicon Valley. Talk to me about that, because that sounds very intriguing in the idea that is it that persons will be able to leave from where they are and spend some time in Silicon Valley with some of the different participants of the program?
So this is
how long is that, et cetera, et cetera?
This is a big part of the entire program. If we could have sent 200 people, we would have, but I don't think Khadija those will take too well to us taking over the whole of Silicon Valley, right? But yeah, so we're sending 10, our top 10 out of the program from across the Caribbean will go to this immersion program in Silicon Valley. So the first 2 levels are all virtual, and you get some one-on-one help in the second one. You still have cohort help in the second one, but in this one, you're going to join 70 other entrepreneurs from around the world. So 80 founders come together for this program, and you're all together getting ready to pitch for your seed round. Now, in times past, I understand from Khadija and her team, the founders, they've been successful with pitching for anywhere from $250K to $3 million that they would have successfully raised during some of the programs that came just before. So it's really up to you. Like almost every major VC that you would want to connect with, all sorts of partners, all sorts of vendors, manufacturers, maker spaces, all of these people are right in front of you. And you're going to want to spend as much time as possible while you're there on the ground, going and shaking hands. So thankfully, COVID isn't as prevalent, so you could actually shake people's hand now. But you got to be ready to be open, to be proactive, to be assertive, and to pitch 1,000 times. So
Okay.
all of the pitch practice that's going to be happening before you get there, this is where, you know, you're going to have so many opportunities, because you have to hit the road literally, and sometimes in some cases virtually, to pitch and to bring home. Basically, you're bringing home your seed round for your country, to do what it is that you're looking to produce. And maybe Khadija, you want to talk about that
Wait,
seed round,
before I
the
even go any
mechanics of
further,
that.
I'm coming
Okay.
to Khadija in just a second, but tell
I
me, it
apologize.
all sounds so amazing. I want to know, where do people go to sign up? Because this sounds like something that we need to be signing up for yesterday. So where do people go to sign up?
Absolutely. So kanooinnovation.com.
KanooInnovationHub.com. So give me a second. I
Yes.
need to talk to the people in the Jamaican version. When they hear that, KanooInnovationHub.com. Go on over there right now. Go apply right now. Right this second. Right this second. They're gonna take you, provide so much help, training, technical assistance to help get you from square one to square, 100, whatever, how many squares you might need in the process. And it sounds amazing. And you have the opportunity to go to Silicon Valley, the storage Silicon Valley we've all heard about, seen movies about, etc., to go and be on the ground and hear what's going on over there. I mean, come on, this is amazing. What the need to go sign up right now to Kanoo Innovation Hub, right this second, right now. Don't waste any more time. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We all know somebody who is an entrepreneur or who has an entrepreneurial spirit, somebody who, if given the right push, if given the right information, would be perfectly primed to take advantage of an opportunity like this. These don't come around too often, all right? People are coming to come and invest in you, so take advantage of it. 1 second, Khadija, let me find the peak. All right,
I have a special something that I want to share.
All right, over to you, Khadija.
So in the referral code, if you could put Studio 58A, the applications will be prioritized. We'll be looking at it, as it's rolling admission. We'll be prioritizing all those applications with that referral code. So please, when you're applying, put in the Studio 58A in your applications.
All right, I'm definitely going to pass that on to our social media team so that they can add that, and we can promote that on our website and our social media pages and so on and so forth. All right, thank you so much for that. Now, Khadija, what's going to happen when we get on the ground in Silicon Valley with you and your team and everybody else? What's going to happen? What are we going to see? What are we going to do? All of that.
So it's our signature program. The 5 weeks immersion program in Silicon Valley, you hardly sleep. There is no rest time. One of the biggest highlight is that we take them on a survival week. You go into the wild, you're trained by some of the best people in the world. It is quite an experience, and Tim Draper himself goes out. The whole idea of the survival week is to test the resilience. When you are an entrepreneur, when you are working with your team, there are many rough patches in that journey, and people's true personalities really come out. So Survival Week is big, and then we have Demo Day, which is how we end, tie the big bow. Investors come in, our ecosystem is there. That's when we decide which companies that we'll be investing in right away, right after we start having meetings with these startups. So right now, let me talk about the last program. We had 80 different founders from 26 different countries. It is a very well-designed chaos that we have day and night. You can always, and you're living on campus. So the campus is right smack in the middle of Silicon Valley. We have 7-floor residential building. And then, down there, we have a pool, we have a lot of spaces, we have co-working space. So 24/7, there are founders working. Somebody from Europe is taking meetings, somebody in Asia is working with their team. They start collaborating with each other. They start hiring each other's services and products. It doesn't end there. These founders also start investing in each other. Just last weekend, we had a Herothon, which is, Ideathon. And so we divide them into teams, and one of the team is actually taking it seriously, and they might be building a company out of the idea that they pitch. And in the last program, the program before that, actually, we ended up investing in the people who won the Herothon. So you're doing a lot of networking. We put out all the events. Like this time, a lot of people attended TechCrunch. Yesterday was a female founder event in in San Francisco. So there's so many networking events that are happening. There's so much happening on campus. You're learning from other founders. Then we have something called grill nights, where we put a lot of food on the grills. And then we send these investor mentors and advisors after you who grill you while you grill your own meat.
Okay, wow.
So
awesome.
There is not a single day that is action-free. You are tired, you're exhausted, but there's so much excitement. And then you're seeing people around you pushing so much that you're like, okay, there is no reason for me to not do this. There's no reason for me to not push myself. It's extremely inspirational. It's extremely motivating. And the biggest of all is the networking opportunity. When else in your life will you be in a building with so many different founders from around the world? And when can you walk out of that opportunity with such a large global network? So it's golden. It's just a golden opportunity, and it's extremely life transforming.
Sounds amazing. It really does. The idea that you can just, the only problem I would have is just like, I might have an idea, but are you focusing primarily on tech persons, or does this apply to persons who may have an idea, for argument's sake, let's say, I don't know, tourism or, transport, something like that. Just somebody who might just hear this and think, this sounds far too amazing. Even though I'm not necessarily a tech person, I feel like this would be the kick I need to really push on in terms of being an entrepreneur and being somebody who's trying to create something from scratch and so on. That's the only thing. I would just think, boy, this seems like if I'm a tech person, or if I'm not a tech person, I feel a little excluded. I don't know. I'm just asking for asking sake.
I think there is no company that is not a tech company, right? It's almost become difficult to find companies that are not tech companies. The idea is innovation. We had somebody with a $200 million revenue, and then we had people who just graduated, had a basic MVP. The way we design our cohort is to keep it diverse, to keep it a mixed bag. And one of the companies that we invested in, they are basically rebranding contraceptive products for women, right? So targeting women specifically for their needs and what would excite them, what would work for them. So innovation takes place in a lot of different ways, right? It's not just building the next app. In fact, apps have become very exhausting. So it's innovating idea, it's scaling up. You'll be having conversations about longevity. You'll have conversations about flying cars. You will have conversations about blockchain, healthcare. So there's a lot happening, and how you would take that technology and apply to your existing idea or how to scale it is where the magic comes in from.
We have a quick question here. I wanted to just add a quick question. I like to take the questions from persons online. Sharina Downer, thank you, Sharina, for your question. Really appreciate that. She's asking, for the entrepreneurs, is it a must that they have an established business to apply? And she followed up by asking, what if you're not a tech person, which means she missed the earlier part of our conversation.
No
right,
problem.
so let's take those two questions.
I was just about to add to that. So we're looking startups or existing businesses. We're also looking for corporations who want to innovate, within their organization with their employees. So it could be anywhere on the spectrum. You could be a startup, you could be a small business already running, but you want to create something innovative in your business, or you could be a larger business and you want to get your team members huddled around how to problem solve in a sustainable way within your business. But okay, let's go back to this question about the amount of tech that we're looking for. We have to go back to really understanding the difference between tech as a consumable and tech as a tool. So we've become so accustomed to, I'm a consumer that's requesting a phone. So for many people, tech, my phone is my entertainment, my phone is something that I've consumed. But the reality is that the telephone is a tool for business people, for any number of people. It's more of a tool and utility than it is actually just for consumption and entertainment. That said, when Khadija responded by saying there is no business that's not a tech business, we in the Caribbean, we learned this the hard way, in particular in the Bahamas. We learned this the hard way right after Dorian. So Hurricane Dorian basically, terrorized and destroyed two of our islands here in the Bahamas. And unfortunately, there was lots of loss of life, and people, even if they were fortunate enough to keep their lives, they lost everything. So this idea of, picking up the phone the next day to call your mom on a different island to say that you were doing okay, that didn't exist, right? Businesses who unfortunately had all of their cash, all of their revenue in cash sitting in their home or sitting in their offices, it was all gone. Families who were unfortunately saving again in cash rather than anywhere else, it was all gone. People who kept their files on their desktop and not in the cloud, all of that was gone. And it has taken, and it is still taking years for people to recover from that. That said, those who were advanced in their use of technology, those businesses were able to rebound faster. As soon as telephone lines were back up and internet was back up, they were able to still find their customers and reach out and try and reconnect because they had their stuff in the cloud or other technical tools that they had employed. They may not have been a tech company, but they rely on tech for their processes. So at the end of the day, when you come through this cohort, and this is a key piece that we haven't mentioned yet in this conversation, and I know we're about to end soon, blockchain, you will be exposed to the tenets of blockchain in this course. You will actually leave the course with a blockchain certificate. And the reason why we're doing that is whether you come in appreciating any tech or having no appreciation for tech, when you're exposed to what's happening for the purpose of knowing the tools that are available to you as you build your business, it changes the game. So whatever innovation you had planned to come in, even if it was, hey, I used to bake 100 cakes a day, now because of this new innovation and change of process, I can bake 10,000 cakes a day. Well, maybe you need a better software to track your clients because you're moving from 1,000 or 100 clients that you serve in a day to 10,000. How in the world are you going to do that with the same amount of staff members? So either way, you're going to need tech, no matter what your innovation is, for better processes, customer experience, financial track record keeping, all of that, you're going to need tech at the end of the day.
All right, so fantastic. I know, Davinia, you have to move off. So I'm just going to give you the last word in terms of, once again, I'm going to invite you to make your pitch. Pitch me, pretend I'm a person who heard this conversation. I was like, nah, you know what? I mean, I hear what you're saying, but this sounds too good to be true, or this is just one of these things for these brilliant tech-minded people like Steve Jobs and those. I'm not that, so this probably doesn't apply to me. So I want you and Khadija same. I want you all to pitch to me to make me want to go out and change my mind and think I should definitely be a part of this innovation hub.
All right, who's going first, Khadija, me or you?
You do it. You do it.
All right. The first time this seed came into my heart, Vaughn, I was hearing a story about a Bahamian fisherman who had created this a hook or bait process, I guess, for fly fishing. And his tours were always the best tours. People literally sailed in on their mega yachts from around the world to go to Bimini to fish with this guy because they had the best experience with fly fishing by using whatever tools it was that he was providing. One day somebody paid attention, who knows where they were from. They weren't from the Bahamas. And they were like, you know what, let me see your hook. Let me see what this magic is. And from what I understand, as the story has been told and passed on, this guy saw it and realized just how innovative it was, gave the guy a couple of dollars and went on to make millions because he took the innovation in that hook that he knew was nowhere else in the world. And hence people were sailing from everywhere to come here to see this one guy in one little boat with this amazing hook. That's why we're doing this, because sometimes we're in it and we're in this environment, but we don't necessarily see and know the value that we hold in our hands every single day in the things that we do as Caribbean people. I think, we as Caribbean people, especially in diaspora, we're out there making everybody else's company or everybody else's country amazing. And it's time for us to reinvest that in us, right? But we need tools. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to give ourselves the opportunity that we've really been building for everybody else globally. And so I'm excited to be able to finally bring this home for us. At the end of the day, you could take the same dollars, take the same people, add this innovation and produce more productivity for our Caribbean nations than you would have done in the past. That's the formula that we're working with.
Fantastic. All right.
I want to just name two people, Tanisha Garcia, who attended our hero training from Trinidad. And right now we have somebody from Jamaica, Jevin Williams.
Awesome.
So maybe you can have him on your show once he has
graduated
from the program. That would be great.
All right. I want to get link up with people behind the scenes and see if we can get his information, and so we can reach out to him and do some more information on that. That sounds
absolutely. And the whole idea is to build the ecosystem by these founders, right? They go back, they encourage others, and they provide support.
Right. So I'm definitely going to want to do something. Last question quickly is this going to cost me anything? Do I have to spend any money to be a part of this program? Is there any cost associated with it, or what are the requirements from me, or the participant, I should say, if they're interested in participating?
Very good question. So of course, everything has some level of cost to it. It doesn't cost you anything to apply. If you're accepted, this initial program is $490 US. There are some scholarships. I believe there's still a couple of spots left as of yesterday morning. So the sooner you apply, the better. Early bird scholarships are what's happening right now. And then as new sponsors come on, we pass on that benefit to everybody else. So if you're already applied and accepted, if there are sponsors that come in and say, hey, we want to cover 10 people from Jamaica or 10 people from straight throughout the Caribbean, then we pass that straight on to you. But the cost is $490 US.
All right. And when is the deadline for applications again?
November 15th. And you could go to kanooinnovationhub.com.
All right, there you have it, people. Kanooinnovationhub.com. Go over there, get all the information you need. Sounds like a truly amazing opportunity. Definitely going to benefit you. And just like Khadija said, type in Studio 58A and they'll prioritize your application. All right, sounds like a great deal to me. And you know what I mean? Just like what Davinia just said, this opportunity to really situate a lot of the technology and a lot of the ideas that we come up with in our own country, in our own regions. It sounds like an amazing thing to do, to be able to really take advantage of the homegrown intelligence, the information that there are so many things in terms of ideas about nutraceuticals, the different are things that our ancestors would have come up with that we live by today, that if we find some way to marry with technology, I'm sure we'll be able to be of significant benefit to the wider world, and we'll be able to transform the way the Caribbean is appreciated in terms of its ability to contribute to overall research, development, technological growth, etc., etc., etc. But that's all enough from me. It's over to you guys to do the rest of the work now. Go on to kanooinnovationhub.com, apply, do what you need to do, be a part of this fantastic opportunity. It's going to be amazing. Being able to go to Silicon Valley and take advantage of all the different opportunities that are available there, meet so many different kind of people with so many different kinds of influences and so on. It's going to be amazing. So I think that should be great. Thank you guys both for being here. And with that said,
thank you so much for having us.
So much. Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone who tuned into our discussion, especially those of you who sent in your questions and your comments. And if you have a question and we didn't get to answer it in our main discussion, don't worry, just drop it in the comments and we'll go through afterwards and be able to give you that information. Remember, our audience plays a major part in our show. So if there's anyone in particular you'd like us to have in studio, let us know. We'll try to have that person in studio as soon as possible. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Jamaica Information Service to see who will be in studio next. And while you're at it, jump on over to Kanoo Innovation Hub. I'm sure you guys are on all the socials as well, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Kanoo
so
Innovation, at Kanoo Innovation on all socials.
Right. So you can check them out, see more information, hopefully see some persons from territories that you're familiar with. This is a regional wide initiative, but of course I'm biased towards Jamaica. So I want all the Jamaicans to full up the thing, take full advantage of it and use it to come back and better our country. All right. We do this every week live on Facebook. I've been your host, Vaughn Davis, and this has been Studio 58A Live. Thank you all so much for joining us, and please have a wonderful rest of the day. Take care. Take care to both of you as well, Khadija and Davinia. Bye-bye.